Keek on the mic, Keek on the mic, Keek on the mic, Keek on the mic. People, this the intro.
Talk bad about my team, you must be a clown. This is Keek on the mic, so you know you better bear down. Bear down. Bear down.
Hey, what's going on, Bears fans? Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Keek on the Mic, the podcast all about the Chicago Bears. Like always, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the bell notification to catch all Bears content right here on the podcast. Make sure you also follow me on all my social media platforms to stay connected with all Keek on the Mic news. So, Bears fans, before I go any further with today's episode of Keek on the Mic, I just want to remind you guys once again that I'll be going live tomorrow starting at 5 p.m. PST. Make sure you come join the live stream. Ask me anything you want about the Chicago Bears or NFL, anything. I'm super excited for this live stream. It'll give me an opportunity to engage with you guys a little bit more. So make sure you come and join the live stream tomorrow night right here on Keek on the Mic. And once again, I appreciate every single one of you guys. So, Bears fans, I wanted to come on here today really quick. First off, happy Sunday to all you guys. I hope you guys had an outstanding weekend, and I hope if you guys are here in the California area, I hope you guys have been surviving the heat. But I wanted to come on here and talk a little bit about what I actually saw on television the other day. Obviously, I'm a big fan of NFL Network. I enjoy watching the series Good Morning Football. If you guys have never watched the series Good Morning Football, go check it out because I feel like it's really fun. It's really engaging. They talk about a lot of good stuff on Good Morning Football via the NFL Network. But there was one segment that really caught my attention last week, and I felt the need to come on here and discuss it with you guys and just get your guys' take and your guys' opinion on what I saw on Good Morning Football on that certain segment. They were talking about the ceiling for the Chicago Bears and, the expectations the Chicago Bears should have and the expectation the Chicago Bears should have in this football team going into the 2023 NFL season. As we all know, the Bears were the worst team in football last season. We held a 3-14 record. We held the number 1 overall pick, but Ryan Poles and the Chicago Bears were really busy this offseason, basically trying to improve this Chicago Bears roster. Ryan Poles obviously traded the number 1 overall pick to add DJ Moore. We brought in Robert Tonyan. We drafted Darnell Wright in the very first round. We added guard Nate Davis. We added Roschon Johnson, Dante Foreman. We added a lot of pieces to the Chicago Bears football team. And I even forgot to mention Tremaine Edmonds and TJ Edwards on the defensive side of the football. So we all know that Ryan Poles was a very busy GM trying to rebuild this roster from the ground up with young, solid talent, but also trying to build a roster that can hopefully compete as soon as this year and hopefully be a lot better than 3-14. So now that Ryan Poles has built this roster his way. And, the expectations for the Chicago Bears are still not super high. They're not sky high yet. But there is some sort of expectations because we just added a true number 1 wide receiver for Justin Fields. And we all know that Justin Fields is going into his 3rd season in the NFL. He's going into his 2nd year in the same system under offensive coordinator Luke Getsy. So I think the expectations for the Chicago Bears stems around their young, exciting quarterback, Justin Fields, which rightfully so. Justin Fields showed that he can play at a high level in the National Football League last season. So I think that's where the expectations stem from when you're looking at the Chicago Bears going into their 2023 NFL season. But on this Good Morning Football segment, they were talking about the expectations from the Chicago Bears, and ex-Super Bowl champion Shaun O'Hara had really high expectations and a really high ceiling for the Chicago Bears football team. And these are the exact words that he had to say about the ceiling he has for the Chicago Bears this season. Check this out, Bears fans.
Every team, best case scenario is you find a way to win the Super Bowl. But let's be realistic about this. Like, the Bears are not winning the Super Bowl this year. I think they're building towards all of that. And we saw the impact that Ryan Poles has had on just his first year. Last year, it was like a yard sale on players. He was trading away players. They were clearing the deck to try to build this thing for sustainability. And I think when you look at the Bears, the best case scenario for them is that they somehow find a way to make the playoffs as a wild card. Best case scenario for Justin Fields is that he plays all 17 games, that he makes it through the season healthy. Because when you look at how much impact he had in the passing game and the running game, running the football, all those tackles, all those things, they become cumulative. So best case scenario is the defense. There's tons of room for improvement, no doubt about it. But I think for Justin Fields, if he stays healthy and they make the playoffs, I think that's a huge win for them this season.
I would say the best case scenario is you're playing meaningful games in December, which the Bears weren't a year ago. And they ended up with the number 1 overall pick. They obviously traded that to move back to number 9 with the Carolina Panthers and went up and got Bryce Young here. But they do think that Justin Fields, to the point that Mike made, has the opportunity to develop into more than just a talented playmaker. That's something Luke Getsy believes in. They got Andrew Janocko there, who's their quarterbacks coach. They want to continue to mold Justin Fields here. Look what they did around him. They've given him some weapons. They made a big trade for Chase Claypool last year at the deadline. We'll see how that works out. DJ Moore was a guy they insisted upon getting in that trade involving the number 1 pick, somebody who was a heavy target share guy when he was in Carolina, has shown that he can be a productive receiver. And then they brought in guys like Tremaine Edmonds on an $18 million per year contract. They invested in the defense in those positions right up the middle of the defense. If you look at the start of their schedule here, they should be able to make some headway in September and October. If they can get off to a fast start here, they do have the Chiefs in week 3, but they face the Packers early in the season. They face Washington early in the season. They face the Bucs early in the season and the Broncos. The division, in my mind, the NFC North is more open than maybe we've been talking about. Vikings were 13-4 a year ago. They've had a lot of change there. The Lions finished strong. They haven't done it for a full season. And the Packers have a new quarterback here. If the Bears can stay relevant into the second half of the season, I think that's a win for them.
So, Bears fans, after hearing what Shaun O'Hara had to say about the ceiling he has for the Chicago Bears, what is your initial reaction? He thinks that the Chicago Bears actually have a legit chance of making the playoffs this season. He's not saying a 1 or 2 seed. He thinks that the Chicago Bears can actually sneak in as a wild card playoff team as soon as this season. And it's interesting because Shaun O'Hara is actually the first person to actually say this about the Chicago Bears. And, really, nobody really knows at this moment what this retooled roster for the Chicago Bears will actually do this season. When you talk to some people think they will just double their win total, so just go from 3 to 6 wins. Some people think that they will just have another decent year, meaning Justin Fields will just take the next step, and they're just still a little bit away from actually being a serious contender in terms of a playoff contender or maybe actually competing in the NFC North. But no, Shaun O'Hara has a pretty high ceiling for the Chicago Bears, and he truly thinks that with what Ryan Poles has done on not only the offense side of the ball, the defense side of the ball, and obviously adding the factor in of Justin Fields taking the next step, he really thinks that the Chicago Bears can make the wild card as soon as this year. And to me, my initial reaction is this. I can't hate him for this because he's not saying that the Bears are going to be the number 1 seed or number 2 seed, right? He's not saying the Bears are going to win the division. He is just saying that he thinks the Bears are good enough. If Justin Fields can take the next step, he feels like the Bears are just good enough to make the wild card playoff, which to me, I think can be a realistic ceiling for the Chicago Bears, especially if Justin Fields does in fact take the next step. And just like Shaun O'Hara mentioned that he feels that Ryan Poles did do enough, and I definitely agree. I feel like Ryan Poles did enough this offseason for the Chicago Bears to compete for one of those wild card spots. I hope that the Chicago Bears can compete for the division, but we may be another offseason away from being true contenders in the NFC North. But I don't think it's far-fetched at all to think that the Chicago Bears can compete for possibly maybe the number 6 or 7 seed in the NFC. So I definitely don't think that Shaun O'Hara is too far off with the ceiling or expectations for the Chicago Bears this season. And when you look at the Chicago Bears football team, they really have nothing to fear, Bears fans. We went 3-14 last season. We held the number 1 overall pick. The Bears technically shouldn't have any expectations. We can have expectations for Justin Fields to take the next step, but when you look at in total as a football team, as an organization, we really don't have any expectations. So these players on this football team can go out there and just play loose, just have fun, and try to stack these wins for this football team. And we know that we still have some flaws on this roster. So this team can really just play loose and go out there and have fun. So once again, I feel like Shaun O'Hara is just not too far off on his prediction. And the thing is about this Bears team as well that I really want to bring up here on today's episode of Kick on the Mic as well is that the schedule for the Chicago Bears is also not very daunting. I think it's a very favorable schedule. I truly feel like when you look at week 1 and week 2, I feel like the Chicago Bears can beat the Green Bay Packers. I feel like the Chicago Bears can beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think the first test will obviously be against the Kansas City Chiefs in week 3, which will most likely be a loss. But when you really look at the Chicago Bears schedule, it's very favorable for them to go from a really bad team to a really good team and such a good turnaround. And they've done it before. These quick turnarounds have happened before for the Chicago Bears. When you look at some of the quick turnarounds, you see 2001, 2005, and 2018 are perfect examples of this organization going from a really bad football team to being a playoff contender within a season, right? Within the offseason. So I think once again, Shaun O'Hara is onto something, but we have to understand that this all stems on how Justin Fields does. And I think we all know, because the quarterback is the most important position in the National Football League. So we all know if Justin Fields can elevate his game even further, if he can be that guy, which I think we all know he can be that guy, but if he elevates his game, the Bears can very well be in contention for a wild card berth as soon as this season. I think the Bears just have to win these games that they can win, right? We can't lose to a Green Bay Packers team that I feel like we're better than. We can't lose to a Tampa Bay Buccaneers team that I feel like we're better than. We can't lose to a Washington Commander team that I feel like we are better than. If the Bears can just stay respectable in these games that they can win, like maybe earlier in the season, and they can make it through these tough stretches that they have, because they do have a couple of these tough stretches that may be tough for this football team to win. If they can just stay relevant in these games and these tough stretches, the Bears should be there, and they should be able to sneak into a 6 or 7 seed if, once again, Justin Fields is playing really well. And who knows, if Justin Fields is playing really well, let's say the defense is improved, let's say the offensive line and the offense in general is playing well, and Justin Fields is an improved football player and is elevating his teammates around him, maybe the Bears do compete with the NFC North. We don't know. We'll wait and see. But I think we just have to realize that Shaun O'Hara is not saying 1 or 2 seed. He's not saying the Bears are going to win the NFC North. All he is saying that the Bears could have a very good chance if Justin Fields elevates his game, if he improves as a player, right? Which we all expect him to do that this season, that he expects the Chicago Bears can sneak in to a wild card playoff as soon as this year. So we'll just have to wait and see. We won't know the answer to this question until we actually see the Bears play and see their record at the end of the season. But I don't think Shaun O'Hara is too far off on his ceiling for the Chicago Bears. So once again, Bears fans, before I let you guys go, let me ask you guys this. What is your initial reaction to Shaun O'Hara's ceiling for the Chicago Bears? And do you agree with his ceiling? Do you think the Chicago Bears can be a wild card playoff team as soon as this season? Let me know down below in the comment section. Before I let you guys go, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification to catch all Bears content right here on the podcast. Make sure you follow me on all my social media platforms. And make sure you share this episode of Geek on the Mic with every single Bears fan that you know. But other than that, back for our all new Bears podcast right here on Geek on the Mic. Thanks, guys, and bear down.
You've been listening to Geek on the Mic, a podcast all about the Chicago Bears. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell notification to catch all Bears content right here on the podcast. Thanks, guys, and bear down.